Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another recap of RuPaul's Drag Race UK. Okay. I know I've been saying this every single episode, but this season is really doing it for me. I'm really loving it. I'm loving the group of girls and the chemistry between everybody. They are so shady. Maybe that's just the dry British sense of humor. Starting the episode off, Vivian and Bag of Chips had just double won the Snatch Game. That's the second time in history that we've had two winners for Snatch Game because Ginger Minj and Kennedy also won together. And back at the workroom, Cheryl Hole is not happy about it. She's saying, do we really think that it was deserving of a double win? And then Blue Hydrangea hops in and says, I agree with Cheryl, girl. I don't think the both of you should have won. You both did good, but a double win, really, was that necessary? And you could tell that Vivian's kind of getting a little bothered about it. Bag of Chips doesn't care at all. She's just in her own little world. So for the mini challenge the next day, RuPaul tells the girls that it is time for the reading challenge because reading is what's fundamental.
As grown-up drag queens, we've turned what might have been hurtful in the past into a high art form that we call reading. Yeah. Because reading is what? Fundamental! That's right!
And I absolutely love the reading challenge. Like everybody else, I think it's usually one of the highlights of the season, unless it's like season 11, because their reading challenge was horrible, right? I remember? That was really bad. But I really wish that they would bring back Everybody Loves Puppets, because I think everybody does love puppets, and I think everybody really loved that challenge. It was such a funny little mini challenge. It was so cute. It was a good opportunity to be shady, making a puppet of one of your competitors. I miss it. I wish they would bring it back. I'm just saying. Bag of Chips is the first one up on the reading challenge, and within like 2 seconds she got much better out there, and she is really riding the much better wave, which I think she should because it was funny. It's the first and like the only like real like big meme of the season, and I feel like it may last. Unlike Opulence or something that was just like quick and over with. I feel like people may keep saying much better. Davina and Cheryl were both good. Crystal stole my joke about Blue Hydrangea. She said, to quote Madonna, I loathe hydrangeas. Which, I mean, she didn't really steal my joke because I never said it. But the first thing that I thought when I heard the name Blue Hydrangea was, oh, Madonna would not like that. And then when Blue goes, of course, she is just shady as fuck.
You've got the dancing, the outrageous personality, the overbite, and the back rolls!
And then she also goes to put a paper bag over Bag of Chips' head. But it doesn't really work out. The bag rips because Bag's head is too big. And then Blue did make some kind of joke about it, and I don't remember it, but people still did end up laughing.
In the words of Bag of Chips, much better!
But Crystal ends up winning the mini challenge for some reason. Honestly, I really don't know. I can't remember any of her jokes other than the one that she said about Blue Hydrangea. So for winning the reading challenge, Crystal gets to decide who is going to be in which girl group. So she decides to have the Vivian and Cheryl Hole, which leaves Davina, Bag of Chips, and Blue Hydrangea for another girl group. Which I'm going to be honest, the second I saw those two groups, I thought that Davina, Baga, and Blue were probably going to do better. But, you know, Cheryl Hole is going into this challenge very confident. She has said multiple times, not just this episode, but throughout the competition, that girl groups are her thing. She's Cheryl Hole, for God's sake. So she's really setting the bar high for herself, so let's see how she does. Okay. Girls are choosing the name for their girl groups. Vivian's team, Crystal's team I should say, I guess. They're scrolling through their little Rolodex of names, and the first one they say was Little Minj. That was such a strong name. They should have kept it, but instead they keep thinking of other names, and they decide on the name Filth Harmony, which is okay, but I like Little Minj better, honestly. But it still hails, whatever. It does not compare to the other group's team name, the girl group name. They've decided that they are going to be called the Frock Destroyers because they like to de-spunky balls. Let's just not even beat around the bush. They're bloody slags, and they like to de-spunk balls, so they are the Frock Destroyers. Again, I already like them better. And then we also learned that Davina is an actual choreographer or dancer. I'm not sure. She said that she's worked in a school. She said that she is a choreographer and her specialty is all this other kind of stuff about dance. I don't know. Is she really a choreographer? I'm very surprised, but very impressed.
I know that I can make this work because my speciality as a choreographer is working with people with vastly different skill sets and making it work.
So the girls go in to record with M&EK. I think that was their name, M&EK, not Ebony. They were gorge. Their skin looked, all I could think when I saw M&EK was how gorgeous their skin looked. They had such perfect skin. First up is Filth Harmony. I'm just gonna call them Little Minge. First up is Little Minge, and the Vivian sings, and of course, we all know Vivian's a live singer. She said it multiple times, so she sounded great. Her verse was good, and then whatever. I think Cheryl was next, and Cheryl, she was okay. She didn't sound bad. Of course, watching this part, you're like, oh, well, even if they don't sound the best, they'll of course edit the voices and do a little auto-tune up in there to make it fit with the song and make it good. Boy, was I wrong about that. Because next up is Crystal, and oh girl, no offense, but she is tone deaf, like for real.
I wanna break up, bye-bye. Maybe I'll see you in the next life. Don't wanna make up, bye-bye.
Her voice was not good, and I think she knew that, which is why M&EK made the suggestion of rapping instead of singing. But it really sucks that Crystal sounded so bad because her lyrics were actually really, really good. In her group, even though Vivian was good, I thought Crystal actually had like the strongest lyrics. So it was really disappointing to see. So it was disappointing that Crystal did not do well because I thought she had the strongest lyrics in her group. That's what I'm trying to say. And then when the Frocks Destroyers go in to record this song, I mean, they all killed it. Like, Bag of Chips immediately went in there. Her voice was incredible. I was really surprised how good of a singer she was. She sounded great. Bag of Chips had the best verse out of everybody in both girl groups, I thought. We'll get to it. It's so good. Davina kills it doing whistle tones and is very impressive. M&EK is like, she's absolutely shook. And then when Blue Hydrangea goes, she probably was the weakest, but she still did really well, I think. It came with ease. There was no cringy moments. There was nothing that was hard to watch or anything. And then they immediately go into choreography, and Cheryl is choreographing for Little Minge, obviously, because she's a dancer, or so she claims. Crystal is giving all of her opinions and just living her truth. And Cheryl Hole is shutting her down. Everything she's saying, she's like, no, if you can't get it, it's simple. If you can't get it, then that's your fault. Crystal's talking about how it's too fast, she can't keep up with everybody, she doesn't know if she's supposed to go third or first, and this was probably the most predictable episode of the season with who was going to be in the top and bottom. Like, it was pretty obvious that Crystal was not going to succeed this episode. And then the other team goes in to do their choreography, and it is just the complete opposite because guest Davina is a fabulous choreographer, which I did not expect. But I was definitely impressed with Davina's choreography, especially seeing it at the end when they make their final performance. Their first and last performance as the Frocks Destroyers. Sadly. The choreography was really good. Going back into the workroom, Bag of Chips has absolutely no issue being a shady bitch towards Cheryl Hole. And she brings up the fact that, Cheryl, you've been saying all day that girl groups are your thing. This is what you do. You're Cheryl Hole, for God's sake. So if you don't win this challenge, or if you don't at least place high, then you are going to look like a right wanker. Cheryl Hole's reply to that was probably the best thing she said all season.
Give us a note, Cheryl. Give us a note. Fuck off, bagger! Fuck off, bagger!
No, it's funny. When she's saying fuck off, bagger, it actually sounded better than everything that she's saying for the actual song. So, I don't know. Maybe she just needed some time to get warmed up, you know? You could tell that Filth Harmony are shaking in their boots because they are trying so hard to be shady and cunty and just come for the other team, but the other team doesn't care at all. They are not having it. They're just shutting them down, laughing right back at them, like laughing at them, not with them. Pretty clear in this moment which team is probably gonna do better. When the girls are getting ready for the runway, Davina gets emotional in the confessional talking about what it was like growing up and how mean kids were to her in school because she was gay. And I think it was actually a happy cry because she was talking about how the kids now have stuff like this, so they're able to see gay people. So there's a lot more hope for kids nowadays than there was when she was growing up. But it was probably one of the most emotional moments of the season. It was definitely the only time that I actually got emotional watching it. Just Davina really, like, broke down. It was intense. But on to a better note, Jade Thirlwall was the guest judge this week, and she didn't say a lot, but the few things that she said were very funny, and I was surprised how funny she was.
What would be the biggest difference between your style of judging versus Simon Cowell's?
Well, for starters, Rue, Simon has much bigger tits. It really is true.
She's fucking gorgeous. I cannot handle it. Her makeup looked phenomenal. I don't know who did it, but it looked real good. So the first group up is Filth Harmony, and Vivian opens up. It starts off really strong, and you're like, oh yes, they're actually killing it. But then right after Vivian's verse, it just kind of staggered and then kept going down, down, down. The energy level dropped, the confidence level dropped, the whole thing. Michelle pointed it out during the deliberation that you could tell halfway through that they all kind of like lost it. They all kind of like died. Of course, Vivian's verse was the best, but she didn't lip sync for like 3/4 of the song. Like, she only did the parts that she was in. I don't know. She didn't lip sync for a lot of it, I felt like. Cheryl was fine, honestly. Good for Cheryl. And Crystal, like I said, I don't know why they didn't like auto-tune their voices or something, because their voices sounded so out of place in the song. It just didn't sound good at all. Like, no wonder they were in the bottom.
Here, I fear it's clear as crystal. The way I'm saying sachet is with a pistol.
And then when the Frock Destroyers get up there, this like from the second the song starts and Davina's doing her whistle tones with that, it was immediately better. Oh, and let me also just point out that with the team before, with Little Minge, as I'm gonna call them, they didn't really look like a girl group. Their looks weren't very cohesive, besides the fact that they all had thigh-high boots on, but like, that wasn't really like good enough for me. And then like Baga and them pointed out, Vivian having pink hair like kind of threw off the dynamic, because even though she was in the middle all the time, she didn't really like own the stage the whole time, so it didn't really work. And also Little Minge, their dancing was kind of boring and repetitive, so sorry Cheryl. I know that you are a dancer, but I was not impressed with the dancing. She did one death drop at the end, which I was like, whoop. And then Baga made the same joke. She went, and Cheryl did a death drop. But back to the Frock Destroyers. They were incredible. A great performance. I've actually listened to the song a few times just because I liked it. Well, I listened to the first 20 seconds of it because Baga's verse is so genius. Baga had the most well-written verse for sure, and it also was the most like Drag Race sounding verse, because not only did she get to do her funny voice when she once again worked in Much Better, she also referenced her Snatch Game and said, "The lady's not for turning." So that was, you know, great. She really knows what she's doing. I know, I'm just gushing over Baga all the time. I'm very Baga biased, but I'm a huge Bag of Chips fan. What can I say? But Davina killed it with the choreography. The choreography was a lot more fun and draggy than the last group, I thought. The last group was very girl group, but it was boring. Then it was so smart the way that they ended it. They did the Charlie's Angels pose, but instead of guns, they held bananas and like licked them because they're the Frock Destroyers. That's like perfect. They really had like a fully realized concept of a girl group. Moving on to the runways, first up is the Vivian. And honestly, maybe my least favorite look that she's worn this whole season. The silhouette and the hat, it was like an okay look. I just thought the fabric was so ugly. It looked like a pair of curtains from the 1800s. I don't know what it was, but I did not like the fabric at all. If it was a different fabric, it'd be a cool look. I also didn't like the length. After Vivian is Cheryl Hole, and oh my god, this dress was so ugly. Just shit on shit, one after the next. Cheryl Hole's dress looked like something you would see at the thrift store and think, absolutely not, who would even buy this to begin with? Oh my god. And then Crystal comes in and saves the day with the strongest look of the night. With the best, I would for sure fucking wear this look. In fact, I want to kind of steal this look. I'm sure I could make something similar. Just, it's not the most inventive look, but it's executed really well, and all of the pieces come together really well. The fact that she had the little bows on her leg and the mask, it just really, it was incredible, and it was by far the best look of the night. None was Bag of Chips, and her look was fine. I have like no feeling towards it. The hat looks cool. I like that it looks like an afro. Like Raja said in Fashion Photo Review, carnations are kind of like a shitty flower. Like, why would you choose carnations? How boring. Filler flower. Blue Hydrangea is after Baga, and her look is really... it would have been the best look of the night if it was just from, like, the waist up. But the bottom half of it was kind of bland. I think that she should have at least had some stones around, like, the hemline of the pants and on the cape. I think that's all that she needed to do, and that would have put it from like a 9 to a 10. But I get what she was trying to do because the top was so crazy that she wanted to kind of stay understated for the bottom, so it wasn't too busy. But I think a little bit of stoning at the bottom would have really tied it together. And last up is Divina De Campo, and I see a lot of people online are really, really liking this look. I don't really like it. I feel like it's kind of really ugly. Like, I love the shoes. Those heelless heels are sick. And I love the hat and the fact that she had a whip. But the outfit itself, it's like this weird, like, velvet in the middle with these shoulder pieces. And I just don't really like the whole color story. I don't know. The outfit's not doing it for me. It's not horrible. I don't love it. I don't know. And so the judges start to critique the girls. Vivian really does get the worst critiques out of everybody, which is really sad to see because of course Vivian's been killing it this whole season. But it's obvious that Vivian's gonna make it to the top 3, if not win. So this was her soft camera moment. It was a whole episode of a soft camera moment. This was her time to show vulnerability and try to win over the people who may think she's like a cold bitch or whatever. And I think it's good that they had Crystal go home to Vivian, so that way, like, Crystal doesn't feel bad about it, you know? And on the runway, when they're getting the critiques, literally every single one of them starts crying. Except for, spoiler alert, the one who goes home, which is Crystal. Funny enough, everybody on the runway cried except her. And then going into Untucked, the Vivian is obviously extremely emotional because she knows she's probably gonna lip sync because she did definitely get the worst critique. So she's freaking out, she's crying. I think this is exactly what the producers wanted her to do. So she's playing into it perfectly fine. She knows what she's doing, and I think she knew she was gonna be okay. Crystal starts crying and getting emotional, and the second she starts to get emotional, Cheryl Hole cuts her off and starts talking about her and her love of girl groups, and she goes on for like a good 2 minutes just talking about nothing, and then someone has to cut her off and say, Crystal, what were you saying? It was like, come on, Cheryl. Read the room. Not the time.
It's just fucking hurt, isn't it? And like, I was ready to tell everybody on that runway how much this challenge meant to me.
Back onto the main stage, obviously the Frock Destroyers are the winning team. I think that we all knew that the Frock Destroyers were gonna win. They were definitely the stronger team. And just based on editing, we kind of knew who was gonna be in the top and bottom, so... Not only are the Frock Destroyers the winners, but every one of them gets a badge. They are just giving these badges out like they are candy. But that means that Bag of Chips, my girl, she now has 3 badges. So she is in the lead. She is in the running for the winner right now. And I totally see Bag of making top 3, top 4, top 2, whatever they end up doing this season. I feel like they're not going to do a top 4 and they're just, you know, there's probably not going to be like a live extravaganza finale like they do in the US because it is the first season. But the Vivian is in the bottom 2 with Crystal. Cheryl could have been in the bottom 2, but I get why they put the Vivian there. From the second the lip sync started, it was one of those where you knew within 10 seconds who was going to win. I thought at least that Vivian was killing it right away. Crystal had she had some weird moves in there. Like, I didn't really understand the whole, like, doing this weird movement. Her dancing was a little cringy, and it was a little slow, and I didn't really enjoy her performance. No, I'm just kidding. That's mean. I did. But it wasn't as good as Vivian, so I understood why she went home. So, of course, Vivian stays. I don't think anybody was expecting her to go home, so I'm not surprised. But it really does suck seeing the best look of the night sashaying away. Crystal definitely had the best look of the night. But that is it for this episode. I'm really excited for next episode. It seems like it's going to be a good old stupid episode of Drag Race. The challenge is going to be marketing bottled water. They have to brand and market bottled water. Very vague. I'm sure a lot of opportunities for people to bomb and do horribly or do really well. So I'm excited to see this next episode. I'm excited about the next episode. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you like the video if you liked it. If you didn't, then go ahead and dislike it. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and go leave a comment below. Tell me what you think of my look. Tell me what you think of my makeup. Tell me what you think of everything. If you don't like something, please let me know. I'm a big girl. I can handle it. I really can. But again, thank you so much for watching. I love you. Bye.